Hello everyone. Today, I'm going to be lubing my Gateron yellow switches. This process is quite simple, and really anyone can do it. I'm sure if you're here, you're somewhat familiar with the process, but just in case, I'll run through a quick overview. If you want a more detailed video on it in the future, let me know. The first step is to take apart the switch into its 4 components. Really 5, but we'll just say 4 for this. The housing base, the spring, the stem, and the upper housing. The first step I take is to grab the stem with the stem holder, and I paint all the surfaces that contact the lower housing with lube, making sure not to over or under lube them. For my personal taste, I like the sound of a switch that's slightly over lubed, so I aim for that. Just enough on the stem that you can see the shimmer, but not enough to actually see the color of the lube. The next step is the housing base. Though this is somewhat redundant after the stem is lubed, I still do it because it makes the switch sound smoother, and it makes me feel like I did a more thorough job. I grab the housing base with my stem holder, and I lube all the contact points here. The next step is the spring itself. This is a much more difficult part. Most likely you'll end up with lube on your hands, but that's normal. To speed up this process, I've seen other people put the springs in a bag all together and shake them with some oil. This of course does work, but I rather enjoy the process of lubing switches, so I do it by hand. After all those parts are lubed, it's time to put the switch back together. Start with putting the spring back into the housing base. Then you put the stem on top of that, making sure to point the arms of the stem toward the copper insert. After that, the housing pops back on and you're all done. Now just rinse and repeat for each switch. This process doesn't take too long, maybe a few hours. I find it relaxing, so I just throw in a podcast and I don't rush it. Consistency is really important when lubing switches, so that each one feels the same on the board. The difference would be minimal, but when you're taking the time to take apart each switch, you might as well make it perfect. And that's really all there is to it. Like I said, easy process. The only thing to watch out for is bending pins on the switches when putting them back in. It can be difficult, and it can also cause your hot swapping sockets to pop out. So take care when assembling the board again. With the board back together with its fancy new switches, it's time for a sound test. I prepared one sound test with the raw audio from the microphone, though I found that it was lacking in actually conveying the typing feel, so I took it upon myself to create a simulated audio that conveys the typing experience better. Let me know what you think. As always, here's your daily dose of typing ASMR. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you have a great rest of your day.